Mr. President, Brazil has been facing multiple climate disasters. Heavy rains in the states of Bahia, Pernambuco, São Paulo, Rio de Janeiro in the past months are just a few examples that have revealed difficulties in the country regarding urban planning and the provision of concrete solutions to tackle the climate emergency. In 2022 alone, almost 500 people have died due to those disasters, in addition to immense economic and environmental losses. Rain floods and landslides, however, do not affect the entire population in the same way. Those who live in so-called high-risk areas are usually poor people, traditional and black communities, and indigenous peoples. In other words, climate disasters and other adverse effects of climate change deepen historical social inequalities, such as the lack of dignified housing, basic sanitation, and employment. It is necessary to recognize the relationship between these occurrences and their consequences, such as racism, particularly the intersection between racial, environmental, and climate justice. The Brazilian government needs to resume its leadership role in tackling climate change. The latest NDC presented by the government is less ambitious than the previous ones and lacks commitments in relation to the protection of Brazilian biomes. We call on the Brazilian government to adopt urgent and robust policies on social environmental preservation, tackling the climate crisis, and to recognize the consequences of environmental and climate racism. Brazil needs to intensify its climate governance, update its NDC, present an efficient and fair energy transition plan, and resume programs to combat deforestation in the Amazon and the demarcation of indigenous and quilombola lands. The private sector and Brazilian banks also need to intensify their role in climate action, present concrete plans for transition and reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. Legislative proposals that aim to reduce environmental protection and harm indigenous peoples, the black population, and vulnerable communities must not advance. Thank you.